Next, we have to consider the proposed increase to election inspector compensation. We have Clerk Brooke.
Okay, thank you Supervisor Walsh. So Election Day is 29 days away, and elections don't happen without the dedicated work of township residents and nearby residents who work on Election Day. About 150 different people are called upon to work on Election Day. And it's best, of course, if we have experienced people who come back and do this year in and year out. And we've been blessed with that type of dedication to the township. In the past 22 months, we've implemented a couple of additional things to keep the people we have and attract new talented folks. You might all recall that we did a recognition program here for long-serving precinct workers, some of which had worked for almost 40 years, and many are in the 20-year range. We've also started an election inspector relations and retention program, which focuses a lot on communications on an ongoing basis with the different election workers who are in the community to keep them engaged with the clerk's office and engaged with new things going on in elections. So those things have all worked, and what I'm here now to talk a little bit about is one other item with regard to our efforts to recognize, retain, and thank the community members that get involved with elections, and that is a financial thank you. And so I'm recommending that we increase some of the compensation that the election workers receive, both in the precinct and in the absentee voting counting board. You'll note on the chart there's AVCB. It's an acronym for Absentee Voting Counting Board. It's actually technically another precinct in and of itself. It's our 19th precinct. The inspectors last received an increase in the township in 2015, so it's been 7 years. We've steadily fallen farther and farther behind some of our local municipalities. The Absentee Voting Counting Board has been set at the rate they're at now since 2014 and before. I actually couldn't find an example of when that last change was. So it's been even longer. They've been set at the same pay rate. Now, I want to recognize too that since 2015, this job has never been easy, but it's become harder and harder. The stress is up. The focus on them is up. The stakes are higher than they've ever been before, and it's getting a little harder to keep the people, despite the efforts we've engaged in. There's some aversion to getting involved, in fact. So I want to again commend the folks that do this, thank them heartily for their contribution to our community and democracy generally. And one way we can do that. And honestly, no one does it for the money, but one way we can do that is to increase their compensation a little bit to recognize them for their work in the township. So on the chart, I have a recommendation as to where we'd go, and I'm happy to discuss those or answer any questions.
Any questions? Michael?
Yeah. So I just want to clarify or confirm, Martin, that our elections staff do not need to live in the township.
That's correct. They do need to be registered voters in the state of Michigan, but beyond that, they do not need to live in the township. There are other criteria, but...
Right. Well, the reason I say that is because if, you're right that all election workers don't do it for the money. But if the decision is between working in Bloomfield Township or working in Birmingham or West Bloomfield or Waterford or somewhere else to do the same thing and get paid double, then they probably would do that or might do that. So I agree with you that I think this is a retention issue and I would support the increase.
Thank you.
Anybody else? And if not, I'd look for a motion.
You said,
Oh,
well, this was brought before the Election Commission also,
We have discussed it there.
and that was supported by the Election Commission.
Well, this is a decision of the Board of Trustees, not the Commission, so we didn't vote on it there, but it was discussed.
Well, we were supportive.
Yes.
And I would look for a motion.
I'll make the motion that we increase the election worker compensation in the amounts provided by the clerk.
Support.
Motion by trustee Shostak, support by trustee Barnett. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That does pass.
Thank you.